Well, good evening and thank you for choosing EBN TV. Welcome to the broadcast tonight, it being on Thursday, the 17th of August, the year 2023. I do hope you're well from wherever you're watching this bulletin with me, Sammy Adika. Well, President William Ruto has yet again reiterated his commitment in fighting corruption. We do hope that that shall be implemented as soon as possible. And starting us off, Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga has called upon leaders to address challenges facing the nation. Speaking in Eldoret, Odinga has also acknowledged the county government's efforts in improving livelihoods and cushioning the national, or rather Kenyans, against harsh economic and governance challenges that the country is currently facing. Refans Shikuku with the report.
While addressing the nation in the devolution conference on Thursday, Raila called for an end of what he terms the tug of war between the county government and the national government to pave way for empowering of county governments.
In this tug of war, the Commission of Revenue Allocation continues to be ignored, making revenue sharing between national and county governments and among counties uneven and more political than professional.
He also emphasized that there has been a clash of vision and responsibilities between county executive officers and members of county assemblies. Thus, members of county assemblies need remuneration and facilitation to enhance working relation between them and governors.
In the Finance Act 2023, the budget for health has grown by 32 billion shillings at the national level. Recurrent expenditure alone has increased by 17%, yet most of the health functions are devolved. Today, fertilizers are procured and distributed by the national government. Affordable housing is being conceptualized and implemented by the national government. The government wants to build markets and employ community health workers. All these are devolved functions whose money should be released to the counties.
As the 8th devolution conference concludes on Friday 18th, anticipation lingers among Kenyans who are eagerly waiting the era of tangible devolution, a time when empowerment and progress will become a reality. For EBN TV, I'm Roifan.
And crossing over to Kiambu County, President William Ruto has earlier today vowed to deal firmly with corrupt officials in his government. Speaking in Kiambu County, the head of state has noted that corruption has derailed the country's development agenda for decades now, and it's time to put it to sleep. Ruto has, however, called on Kenyans to ensure they fully adhere to KRA directives and pay taxes as required to enable him deliver his promises.
Askofu amenisema kitu ya muhimu sana. Ameniambia tutalipa ushuru, lakini si ndio? Hatutaki pesa yetu iibiwe na watu pale kwa ufisadi na ukora na matendapreneurs na wengine. Mimi nataka nikuhakikishie Bishop, pale Kasarani nilipatiwa Biblia, nikapatiwa katiba, na pia nilipatiwa upanga. Hii upanga hii ni ya kufyeka hawa wafisadi wote na wakora wote. Hiyo I will not spare them. Si namna hiyo. So mkilipa ushuru nyinyi mniulize. Ikitumika vibaya I will answer. Si ndio? Mimi ndio ndajibu kwa sababu mimi ndio nimeuliza. Na I want to promise you mambo ya ufisadi watatafuta vile askofu aliwaambia wale walevi waokoke ama wahame. Hata mimi nawaambia wafisadi wabadilike ama wahame Kenya, because we will not allow them. Sijui kama tumekubaliana. Askofu aliwaambia wale walevi waokoke ama wahame. Hata mimi nawaambia wafisadi wabadilike ama wahame Kenya, because we will not allow them. Katika hii budget tumesema mambo ya kuleta furniture kutoka China ama kuleta kutoka Ulaya, hiyo tumekomesha. Furniture itatengenezwa hapa nyumbani na vijana hawa. Mambo ya samaki, kuagiza samaki kutoka China sijui wapi, samaki itatoka na kule Mombasa na hapa Lake Victoria. Waulize mtu wa Kiambu hapa, ati mtu anasema anaenda kununua kitanda ati kutoka China. Kwani hii kitanda inahitaji kitu gani gumu? Kitanda kutengeneza ni nini? Si ni mbao na randa na musumeno na nyundo na musumari? Si kitanda iko tayari? Sasa niwaulize, kama mtu hataki kitanda imetengenezwa na vijana wa Kenya, ati mpaka aende anunue ile ya kutoka China ndio apate usingizi, akose usingizi, alale chini. Hii serikali ni ya mahasla. Hii hakuna handshake. Hapa hakuna nusu mkate.
Wako hapa Kiambu ya kwamba hii kaunti vile umepanga mipango zako, tutapanga sambamba na wewe na tuende pamoja, Your Excellency.
Rais, nataka nikuhakikishie sisi wote kama viongozi wa Kiambu tutakuwa nyuma yako kuhakikisha ya kuwa tumetekeleza yale mambo yote tuliwaahidi hawa watu wa Kenya.
And still on matters politics, Azimio leaders have condemned the US Ambassador Meg Whitman for involving herself with Kenya's political affairs. This comes just a day after Whitman noted that the August 9th, 2022 general elections were fair and credible. Whitman was speaking at the 8th Devolution Conference in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County on Wednesday this week. Let's listen in.
Elections, taxes, and corruption are existential questions in Kenya today. It is only a visitor in Jerusalem who can discuss them in such a casual manner. The American government is definitely not a visitor in Nairobi, and we can only hope that these unfortunate remarks were personal and were inspired by the envoy's base corporate instincts of pleasing the buyer to close a deal.
Felt hurt when the U.S. ambassador is dancing and praising democracy in Kenya when such rights are being criminalized and described as destruction of property and rioting and what all sorts of descriptions which just prove that the current regime is actually slowly taking this country into a dictatorship.
I think that there is a dangerous trend that is coming up where our foreign partners are more concerned about supply chain diversification, are more concerned about the continuity of business rather than the sanctity of life in those jurisdictions where they operate. We want our friends to think about lives as much as they think about supply chain, to think about rights as much as they think about the disruptions that have been brought about by the Ukraine and Russian war.
And now shifting gears, Nakuru Court has released Uasin Gishu Senator Jackson Mandago and his two other co-accused on a 500,000 cash bail, each after plea taking on the Finland-Canada scholarship scandal case. The three were arrested on Wednesday and transferred to Nakuru Central Police Station for allegedly conspiring to steal 1.1 billion Kenya shillings from Uasin Gishu County parents. The accused are facing 5 accounts of charges, including abuse of office.
2, 3, and 4 that were present today, I consider them for bond of 2 million Kenya shillings and one short of similar amount, or cash bill of 500,000 Kenya shillings, 550,000 Kenya shillings, pending plea and or the arrest of the first accused person. So meanwhile, the warrant against the first accused person is still in force. So we agreed on a date. Of course, the prosecution always have a right, any party has a right to appeal within 14 days.
Judiciary has their own discretion. We are politicians and we believe in the rule of law. So whatever the court has decided, we are under obligation to exactly keep that. So, and personally, me, I'm comfortable with that decision. I absolutely have no problem.
And now on matters held, in a bid to address the aging HIV epidemic, health partners in Siaya County have convened a conference to identify ways of enhancing the fight against the spread of HIV and AIDS, whose prevalence rate still stands at 14.1%. Here's Victor Nzobeli with the details.
During a two-day meeting, Mrs. Zilfa Mbuye, who coordinates mother-to-child transmission program in Siaya County, says that the two-day meeting is aimed at finding the best practices that can help in responding to the changing and aging HIV epidemic in the country. She observed that with a HIV prevalence rate of 14.1% and mother-to-child transmission rate which stand at 8%, Siaya is still among the HIV high-burden counties, hence the need for combined efforts in finding the best practices through which the trends can be reversed. The MTCT coordinator, who spoke during the opening of the conference, stated that right now they are targeting the youth, beach community and the elderly persons who may have challenges in the managing infections.
Responding to the changing and aging HIV epidemic, which as a county it's of key to us because as now our prevalence is quite high, around 14.1%, while the national target is at the prevalence of 4.6%. And when we come to issues of mother-to-child transmission, we are also doing 7.1% against the expected transmission rate of below 5%. From before, I think Siaya has always been lead among the top counties with high burden of HIV. I think in the past it used to be around 24%, then it moved to 16%, but currently we are doing 14%, which as a county we think we have made tremendous strides towards reducing new HIV infections.
According to Dr. Momanyi Neto, the HIV treatment advisor, he says that there are some people who may have been under HIV medication, but due to the changing trends, they have also acquired some non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and hypertension, among others, noting that those are some of trends that they are trying to find ways of managing.
Over the years, I think we've had close to over 30 years of close to 40 years right now of HIV pandemic. And with time, we are seeing changes. So we have to change to respond to how the epidemic has been changing. So initially in the epidemic, even in Kenya, we are seeing very sick patients who come to the hospital very sick in advanced HIV disease. Most of them would die from opportunistic infections like TB, bacterial infections, and the likes. But over time, and especially with the introduction of very strong antiretroviral treatment for HIV, we have seen that over time people are living longer, people are living healthier, and the typical HIV patient who you'd see very sick, we don't see them much now. We are seeing more of healthy people who have lived.
Dr. Momanyi stated that even though they have made great strides in reducing the HIV prevalence rate in Siaya County from 24% to 14.1% over the last 5 years, they were still facing some challenges, noting for instance that the uptake of prevention drugs was still very low.
I guess issues to just do with clients staying on medication the way they're supposed to do. We've had challenges in the past where commodities have been a challenge. Commodities meaning treatment where medication is either late to arrive or does not arrive in small quantities during one treatment. So those challenges with commodities have been there. But what has really worked is the introduction of these very potent new molecules like dolutegravir that have really helped to suppress the virus.
The coordinator has therefore encouraged those who are on drugs to ensure total adherence and at the same time advise those who are HIV negative to also ensure they embrace prevention drugs to help in preventing new infections. Victor Nzobeli for EBN TV, Nairobi.
And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has noted that the UDA party is focused on building an ideology-centered political approach Speaking when he hosted the Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Zhou Pingjian, Thursday morning, Gachagua noted that UDA is moving with speed to put in place necessary measures and structures to enable it survive for decades.
We are happy to receive your officials from the ruling party. And we developed a partnership because now the CPC and UDA are ruling parties. So we are one. And we think we should form some good partnership. I did request your delegation to consider us as your small brother, because we are a young party. Our party is hardly 1 year old. This party was formed a few months before the general election in 2022. It is undoubtedly the party of the future. It's a party that is popular across the whole country. It's a very democratic party. We allow internal democracy to thrive within the party. We let everybody do what you want, to say what you want, but we want to develop that party like the CPC, a party for a century. And we are asking for your hand as our brothers to hold our hand so that you can help us nurture our democracy. Again, we want to ask the CPC to help us to develop capacity, to train our people on how to manage the political party, how to develop the philosophy, how to build on our manifesto. So there is a lot we can learn from China. So when our Secretary General told me that this Central Committee has invited us to visit China, I was very happy, because we want to learn. How is it that a party is so strong, is even stronger than the government? It's really, we want to learn. So I'm very eager to come to China and spend some time to learn. We would want our UDA party to be as strong.
And now on matters education, Kenya National Union of Teachers, NAT, now wants to be fully involved in CBC implementation and education reforms proposed by the Kenya Kwanza government. NAT has, however, expressed its support for the proposed education reforms, noting that it will go a long way in ensuring every child gets access to education and compete favorably in the job market.
We want to tell the Teacher Service Commission to avoid issues of membership. The Constitution is very clear. Teachers have their choices on membership of the union. Teachers have the right to choose any union they want. So we want to appeal to all stakeholders. As a union, we believe we are stake owners in matters of education. And we are happy so far this report has cleared some of the doubts and some of the problems that existed in the teaching fraternity. As messengers for teachers, we have given the president our position, especially on the teachers' pay slip. And we are happy the government is now addressing that issue, and the president are already voluntarily given us some little increment, but we are saying we want 60% increment for our teachers. So we are still having shortages, but the government, the Kenya Kwanza government, has said it is addressing. That time they have recruited 35,000 teachers. They are recruiting more, and we still we have a shortfall about 115,000 teachers. We want the government, if at all it is serious on matters of education. You know, education is very important in society. Education is an equalizer in the society. Education closes the gap between the poor and the rich. And the best thing the Kenya Kwanza government should give us is education. So if they want to continue us as education sector to improve, let them give us more teachers.
And still on matters education, over 1,000 beneficiaries of Elimu and Wings to Fly scholarship from 5 counties have attended a 3-day mentorship summit at St. Joseph Boys Kitale. The summit seeks to implore them to reciprocate the financial support by working hard and realizing their dreams in a bid to liberate their families from poverty. The school's chief principal, Cosmas Nabongolo, noted that the privilege offered to the affected students should not be drained, but help them shape their future and add value to the country.
A key 5 pillars that the program or today's Congress was focusing on. The first one is on academic excellence. Secondly is on value-centered leadership. Thirdly, we are inspiring them on transformative leadership.
This gives students the opportunity to compare notes, to bond, and to be reminded that the opportunity that has been given to them by the bank to be able to pursue education is such a noble thing.
We are hosting 1,070 students, Wings to Fly scholars and Elimu scholars. They are Form 1 and Form 2s from 5 counties, that is Trans Nzoia, West Pokot, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet and Uasin Gishu, for a 3-day congress that we are closing today, where we had an objective of aligning their values and preparing them for leadership.
Now on matters security, 8 people have been left dead following interclan clash in Garissa town. This is after 2 more people were killed Wednesday night. The security agents in the county have noted that the attacks are caused by business rivalry at the mining sites in the county. Northeastern Regional Commissioner John Otieno has issued a directive to those in possession of illegal firearms to surrender them to the police, noting that they are set to implement tough security measures and arrest the insecurity cases.
The security apparatus have been instructed to deal firmly with these criminals. We are going to enhance security. We are going to enhance beats and patrols within the town. There are a number of measures that we have agreed on issues that we think are contributing factors to the insecurity.
Na nia ya kutambua ni watu kutoka kabila fulani, na katika hiyo hali wakaweza kupiga risasi na kuua 6 kati ya wale ambao walikuwa katika hiyo box. Na kupitia uchunguzi wetu tumetambua ya kwamba wale 6 ambao walipigwa risasi wanatoka kwa clan moja, clan ambayo ni Abdana. Wahusika ni wakora, ni bandits. Na hawa bandits walikuwa na nia ya pengine kulipiza kisasi kulingana na ile kifo ambayo ilitokea hapo awali, na hii inaonekana ni uhasama kati ya, na wakaua hawa kinyama. Walipigwa risasi at close range kulingana na kile ambacho tumeona huko wakati visit the scene of crime na the security teams.
And in Kilifi, the suspect behind the murder of Kilifi County Chief Officer was today arraigned in court to face charges. Malindi Chief Magistrate James Mwaniki ordered that the key suspect be remanded for a further 14 days to allow investigation. Diana Naliaka is alleged to have killed Kilifi County Blue Economy and Fisheries Chief Officer Rahab Karisa.
Kuyakiri au kuyakataa kwa sasa hivi, utasomewa haya mashtaka wakati mwingine mbele ya jaji mkuu kwenye mahakama kuu, ambapo utapewa mwelekeo kuhusu kusikizwa kwa kesi yako na pia mwelekeo kuhusu dhamana yako. Hii kesi pia itawasilishwa mbele ya msajili wa mahakama ambaye atakutafutia wakili wa kukuwakilisha wewe, na itatajwa tarehe 31 mwezi wa 8 mwaka huu mbele ya msajili wa mahakama. Umenielewa? You want the accused remanded in which police station? Utapelekwa kwenye kituo cha matibabu ambapo utakaguliwa. Most of them. No, that's all. Thank you.
And still in the coastal part of the country, pastoralist communities in Lamu have raised concerns over the recent crackdown on Al-Shabaabs that have been causing unrest in the county for a while now. The community has distanced itself from the attacks and now want the security agents to stop harassing and associating them with the Al-Shabaab militants.
Wale wanaishi wa Lamu County, mashambulizi yote ikitendeka, tunashtumiwa, tunatuhumiwa ambaye haina msingi, kwa sababu sisi hatuhusiki kitu inaitwa mashambulizi. Sisi na raia mema na tunashambuliwa. Jana kule pande ya Bargwan gari yetu moja ilichomwa na angali sisi watu wa Koreni nasemekana ati kuna magari zilipigwa hapa, wale watu walipiga waliingia Manyata ya Koreni. Kwa hivyo mimi nasema hiyo kitu ni uongo. Sisi kama sisi ni wafugaji ama wakazi wa Koreni, kitu kama hiyo hatuhusiki. So ningesema watu wawache hiyo kuharibu jina ya jamii mzima ambaye wanakaa hii county.
Kama wanataka kugonganisha jamii hawa, na si historia ya mambo ya dini wala kabila. Sasa kila mtu ina affect kitu, na tunasema serikali ifanye kazi hapo, sababu mara inachoma gari, mara zamani walikuwa wanasumbua mambo ya gari ya serikali, lakini sasa hii hata gari ya raia pia wanapiga risasi na wanaua watu vibaya sana.
Tusumbua sana na hakuna kitu ambao sisi tumeona na naturize, na hakuna hata siku moja sisi kitu ambao tumeona na tumeficha, na askari akikuwa mara nyingine hata tukiona tu askari magari wao tunatoroka, kwa sababu akikuona hatukuulizi kitambulisho anaanza kuchapa.
Kila kitu ikitendeka wanasema wafugaji ndio wanahusika. Kule wafugaji ndio wanaua, wafugaji ndio wako na silaha. Kuna wengine hata wanasema mchana mnachunga ng'ombe yenu na silaha na usiku mnaficha. So kitu kama hiyo tunashutumu, tusiambiwe, na hatutaki kitu kama hiyo. Tunaomba serikali ya kwamba hata hatua kama hiyo asichukulie zidi yetu.
Well, that right there marks the end of our bulletin tonight. Many thanks for tuning in and always keeping it EBN TV. My name is Sammy Adika. Do have a lovely night.